it's Justin and I hope you're enjoying my dad's videos. Make sure to share this video with your family and friends, like and subscribe and turn on post notifications so you get notified for all my dad's new videos. My social media will be tagged down below so you can follow it. And just remember, Jesus loves you.
Hi, Charlie.
Hi, Alpa. How are you?
We're getting there. How are you? I'm very well. Life's a different vibe in just 1 week. After meeting you, Charlie, you changed my life.
Oh, thank you for that. Look, we're going through a very interesting period in our lives, and it's fascinating to go through it with your eyes open rather than closed.
Absolutely. And I've had some really, really good feedback. As you know, this was my first time ever doing something like that. And I'm sorry I kept interrupting you. I was this eager beaver trying to, get so much out of my head and articulate that. But I want to thank everyone that watched it. Thanks to my Freedom Thinkers group, who was just supporting me all the time, encouraging me, encouraging their communities, to speak up, because it's not really an easy place to be. And a lot of the emails that I got are from fellow truthers thanking us both for, helping to awaken people and planting the seeds. But, I reiterated last time, and I'm going to do that again today. This is about the children for me, and all roads lead to the children. Now, if that means I'm supporting President Trump, I will have done enough of my own research and use my discernment to come to that conclusion. I had a bit of a negative experience yesterday, so I just want to address a few things, and then we're going to do questions and answers. But this is for the people that are experiencing the negativity that I got right at the start, and it's to encourage them to speak up, even if it means they're doing it on their own, because we need to question, what are we talking about? One, children. The children. And if people in positions of power, such as celebrity, such as politicians, such as big CEOs, have been doing some of the most heinous crimes to humanity and these children, if I'm speaking up about that, what's wrong with that? One. And I've moved past the locker room comment from Donald Trump. Yeah, I'm getting only one person out of all of this that is really not happy about me being on this camp and in this Q movement. And, I didn't wake up one morning with posters of President Trump in my room. But we must not forget what this is about. This is about the children. And it just baffles me that people want to pinpoint on little facts. And I heard in one of your podcasts with Charlie Freak, he talks about the left brain. I'm actually speaking to Charlie on Sunday, and how people are sort of caught up in this left and right brain. And it's really interesting, his insights and all of that. But we must address what we're fighting for. So all the people that are feeling alone in their communities, with their friends, I've had people say that they've fallen out with friends and family because of just sharing this information. They're scared, the uncertainty, and then some people have had bad experiences with psychics, etc. It's just crazy, Charlie. So words of encouragement to everyone that's listening. Thank you for the support. Thank you to Charlie, and yeah, you've got to carry on. And you're used to this.
I am. It's a journey. Fortunately, over 95% of people are with us. And you'll always get people who disagree with you, and I have absolutely no problem with people disagreeing with me. But there's ways to disagree. If you come to me with evidence, then I'll look at your evidence and make my own educated choice on what's right and what's wrong. But if you come to me, like I did a video yesterday about all the good things that Trump has done, and I had a couple of debates with certain people who turned around and said, I still don't like him. I said, what don't you like about him? I just don't like him. They couldn't give me anything other than I don't like him. And
the way they've been programmed.
it's a lot to do with programming, but I like him because he's done so much. And I went through 8 different things that he'd done, whether he hasn't gone to war against other countries. He's breaking down the paedophile gangs. He's stopping child trafficking. These are just, amazing things that he's doing. And yet people still don't like him. They still prefer a guy that goes out killing people and encourages child trafficking. And it just shows how corrupted their mind has become because of mainstream media and television.
It's desensitized. It's desensitized.
It is. And it's very interesting how especially in America, people have been completely brainwashed and indoctrinated. And I mentioned to you earlier, before we started this, when I go and see my grandson in Florida, and we often go to Disney to have a look around, he'd land up in queues most of the time. That's part of going to Disney. You wait half an hour for a 20-second ride. Drives me mad, but there you go. But you land up talking to people. And I remember talking to a couple of people about the Federal Reserve not being owned or run by the government. And I was absolutely shouted down as a thick English bastard who hadn't got a clue what he was talking about. And I said, well, one day you'll find out. And now they're finding out that everything they've been told about the Federal Reserve was complete and utter bollocks.
Funny you mentioned that story, Charlie. The same things happened to me just yesterday, in fact, with what I just mentioned earlier. There's a particular individual that has been writing to me from the beginning, when I sort of plucked up the courage to, share stuff about the children, and now realizing that its connection is to Donald Trump, and he's actually the good guy, in all of this. And I could see everything fall into place, and how vilified the Q movement has been in the mainstream media. To me, it makes common sense as to, this all adds up. This particular individual felt the need to consistently email me and say, look, you don't live in this country, so you don't know what's going on. I know, and you're brainwashed, and I can't believe someone's so capable, or capable, as she spells it, someone so capable as you, to be, sorry to say, so stupid for believing this Q movement. I have had enough, and I'm going to block you. I'm just like, wow, what does it mean if you're in a country, like so many people don't even know what's going on in the UK, and people from abroad are sort of telling me, oh, did you hear about this? Did you hear about that? I think that kind of arrogance needs to go.
This is very much left-wing politics, and I've learned on my journey that you tend to find that people that have right-wing views are very open to understand what's going on. Left-wing, the extreme left, unless you have their view, they will block you, they'll cut you out. They've become, and they're the people that have infiltrated our universities, our colleges, our schools. And if you don't agree with them, all hell breaks loose. And then you actually have a look at the type of people that they are. And there are all these minority groups that we've given them a voice, and they've taken advantage of it. It's the old story. You give them an inch and they've taken a mile. And they need to go back in the box where they belong, because the majority of the world think very sensibly. But they've been overpowered by this bullshit left wing that's completely out of touch with reality, and needs to understand what the truth really is.
Yeah, you mentioned something very interesting, both you and the two Charlies, on this podcast of yours that I saw with Robert Steele and you and Charlie Freak. And I encourage everybody that's listening to this right now to go ahead and watch that, because some real great nuggets of information and 3 really interesting individuals together. But one point that really stuck out to me with Charlie Freak is that he's got a real knack of opening up your thoughts. And he's like, we must get out of this 1 degree way of thinking. Like, I have this 1 university degree that makes me so superior to everybody else. We need to think 360 degrees in the peripheral, right? That was amazing. That was really, really good.
The one thing that I've learned on this journey is to be able to listen to people. And if you can listen to people, then you can learn. And you can actually see the same thing from a different perspective. And both have different opposing views on the same subject.
Yeah.
The ability to be able to listen to other people's views is so important in this journey.
Absolutely. And again, you know, what is wrong with humanity now waking up to these horrible things that are happening to children? And it's just within 1 week. I'm not sure, well, you're noticing it, I'm sure, but people are waking up to this at such an exponential rate. It's really like it's happening really, really quickly. So, you know,
It is, and it's wonderful to see it happening. And you know, there's people who've been on this journey a lot longer than me that are so excited that I talk to, because they've been waiting for this for years. I was told about it 6 years ago. I didn't really believe it. 2 years ago, it was updated, and I thought, yeah, great. But when it sort of became real in December last year, when I was told it was going to happen this year, and it has happened, that I became completely aware as to what was going on. And everything I was told then started to come together.
yeah,
But as I said right from the start, I had the four corners of a puzzle, and I had to go out and work out what made the picture accurate.
yeah.
And it's been an amazing journey, and I've spoken to some wonderful people. I've done 160, 170 videos, which is an awful lot of videos.
And even in a week, you've got 20,000 more viewers from last week. So, you know, you're obviously doing something right, Charlie. And I hear that you mentioned in that podcast with Charlie Freak and Robert Steele that Trump is sharing your videos, something of that nature.
The one thing I've also learned is it's lovely to have 120,000 subscribers. Really, really nice. And I'm very grateful for that. It's also
it's
nice.
not about that.
Sorry?
It's not just about, oh, you know, you have this an ego trip that you've got, you know, 120,000 followers. It's actually, you know, a message to you that you're actually saying something right, and people have.
Well, we're getting between 30 and 50,000 views in the first day on every video at the moment, which is phenomenal. And we've got videos that have been viewed 500,000 times. That's amazing.
That's a really good, Charlie. I think.
As somebody said to me the other day, you've got 120,000 subscribers. You've probably got another 200,000 followers that haven't subscribed, who just click onto it. So I'm very blessed. I'm enjoying the journey, and enjoying trying to find out the truth, because what we thought was the truth was clearly not, and we're learning that more and more each day. And there's certain things that are happening right now that are so stupid you couldn't make it up, and yet people believe it to be true. You know, there's so many testers and red flags and obvious things that are happening, and people are completely oblivious to what's going on.
Yeah. So, Charlie, you know, last week we covered so many things. We talked about Nasara, we talked about Jastara, we obviously talked about the kids. And today I kind of want to do a bit more of a question and answers with loads of people who have messaged me. I'm sorry I haven't got everybody's messages. There was loads. I didn't realize everything went into my spam on Facebook. I'm still learning about all of this. I haven't even got my own channel. That's how, you know, I haven't done this for the vanity of like, let me set up my own channel, get so many followers. It's just use this platform to, you know, spread the truth. And
well, as everyone can see, you're Charlie's angel.
I am, and I've just grown a pair of wings. So what I thought would be a good idea is, you know, just to recap that we talked about so many things last week, the Q movement, Nasara and Jastara. We didn't really go too deep into the Q movement, but Nasara and Jastara is so many questions based on that. But before we dive deep into the questions, Charlie, I loved what you said in your video yesterday about 7 to 8 reasons about Trump. You just touched on it briefly now, but could you just to start this off, you know, why are you supporting Trump, and you know why?
Let me just get my list down, because I actually have a list here somewhere where I wrote down the.
Sorry, I didn't mean to throw that at you.
No, that's okay, no problem at all. I don't even know where I put it now. It's somewhere around. But I put down the. Oh, here we go. The reasons as to why I personally, this is a personal matter, as to why I'm respecting what he's doing. Number one, he's the first president in many, many years not to go to war against anybody in his first term of office.
Yeah.
That, you know, when you consider the damage done by the Bushes, the Clintons, and the Obamas against Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Syria, Libya, African countries. I mean,
It's awful.
it's absolutely crazy, and yet the people out there seem to love presidents that go and kill people, and I don't quite get that. But one that doesn't go and kill people, you suddenly hate. That doesn't make any sense to me.
This is Charlie. This is the good over evil battle. It's never going to be easy.
No, it wasn't. That's true. And then he's the first president to go after the paedophile gangs and the, we're talking about Hollywood. We're not talking about seedy little place. Well, it is that Hollywood's become a seedy little place, but he's gone after the paedophile gangs. Nobody's ever dared do that before, because the paedophile gangs, we're talking about actors, actresses, top politicians, people in power, government officials, judges, lawyers, barristers, billionaires, millionaires. I mean, it's sick. It's absolutely sick. But he's going after them.
And how easy was that to do, Charlie? Let's just put this in perspective, because if we just try and understand this, the enormity of this operation, as it were. So you just repeating what you said: actors, actresses, politicians, barristers, lawyers, politicians, judges, big CEOs. And then it's like the org chart, right? You've got the corrupt people at the top, and it's a funnel system going down. And within each division, people, this is the sort of the life of corruption and evil doing.
Sure.
So how easy was that? It's not easy.
It was incredibly difficult. Incredibly difficult. It's had to be incredibly well planned.
And how many years has this been going on, Charlie? Was it a 4-year operation? No.
It's been going on for many, many, many years. Many, many, many years. And it's a very sick thing. I mean, it's...
No, my question is that to bring this down, is it just in these 4 years?
No, this has been planned over the last 10 years. It's been planned over the last 10 years, and they needed Trump. He was the only person strong enough that they could rely on to do this job. He was selected to do this job.
Yeah, he was asked, and apparently in one of my findings was that he actually said no initially.
I heard he jumped at the idea, but having said that, he was selected by man, but he was chosen by God to do the job.
Yeah, and it's not easy.
It's not easy by any sense. But he's done and is doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
He's the first president to stand up to child trafficking, and something that most people are completely oblivious of. And I pointed this out yesterday: 22,000 children disappearing every day. And for people in England, you need to wake up to this, because all this hoo-ha about Madeleine McCann is one little girl. 22,000 other children go missing every single day. And the mainstream media, you have to ask yourself the question: why are they worried about one? Why aren't they worried about the 21,999? What's wrong with them? Why is it just one person?
This is what mainstream media has done. They'll report the odd case here and there, so to keep society thinking that there is bad things that are happening and the good guys are doing something about it.
Or maybe they're involved together. I don't know.
Exactly.
Ask questions.
Exactly. Well, people are so consumed. Well, it didn't come on the news. I didn't hear it. It didn't come on the news, Alpa. You want to get out of all of this. You're sounding like a conspiracy theorist. I would rather sound like that, if that's what you want to label me. Yeah. I'm not going to call you a sheep. I am not going to stoop to low vibrational energy. I've said this many times. It's all low vibration. We need to raise the vibration of humanity collectively, and with empathy, with compassion, and with love. But be assertive and not a fool.
Exactly. The next one surprised me, because coming from a religious background, for him to expose the truth about the Pope and the Vatican. I knew they were corrupt. I didn't realize that they didn't worship God, but they worshiped Satan. That was a bit of a shock for me, and he's exposed that. And that's a very damning one for me, for people who've placed their entire faith in the Vatican and the Pope. That's pretty damning.
I have a question about that myself. Is it ironic then that now so many things being uncovered within the Bollywood, Hollywood fraternity? I'm not saying the Bollywood fraternity is involved in any of this stuff with the children, because I don't know. I don't really follow it as such. But within the religious communities, etc., so much is being revealed, so much is coming out. And I'll give you an example. There's some religious leaders and religious personalities within the Indian community that are circulating with not so positive news. And I sat here with, I have this conversation with my very dear friend, when she lets me know about this, because I'm not following it. She says that XYZ is coming out with coronavirus, or XYZ has been associated with child pedophilia and stuff like that. Is it ironic that everything is just so happens to be coming out now, Charlie? I'd like you to explain that a little bit more.
Well, there's been a team behind the background that have realised that the world's moral compass was completely out of sync, and it's not one thing. Donald Trump was put in power to drain the swamp, and the swamp involves the cabal, the deep state, the paedophile gangs. It involves every facet of it, and even the monetary system was corrupt, the fiat currency. So we're in for a complete draining of the swamp, and we'll come out the other side into what I've always called the Great Awakening. We'll become awake as to what the new world will look like. It will be a very different world than when we went in, and people will then suddenly realize that the virus, the vaccine, the 5G, the riots were all a big cover-up for this global financial reset.
All distractions.
All complete distractions.
So it's two things that we're going to take away from here, is that, this was for the global financial reset and to save the children, rescue the
training the swamp, which is with the people that have abused the children. He said right from day one he was going to drain the swamp, and we didn't know what was in the swamp because we weren't in the pond, or maybe we were. I don't know. I was completely oblivious to how much paedophilia was going on. I was the sacrificing of children, the Satanists, the satanic rituals, etc. Completely oblivious to it. It's only when I did the research, and I'll be honest with you, I backed out of it, having lost my own son. It was not something I wanted to know about, but I've been forced to have a look. People have sent me disgusting videos that I've deleted immediately. I won't be a part of it. I find it deeply offensive. But he's doing an amazing job in challenging this, and there's many, many facets of this. He's doing an amazing job. And people should be very grateful for it. And sooner or later, people will wake up to that fact and stop hanging on to the fact that he said something silly in a locker room many years ago, and we've all done that. I've said worse things, I promise you. He's got floppy blonde hair that changes from blonde to silver or whatever, and then he tweets all over the place. Well, for those who know, his tweets are absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
If you think he's grammatically incorrect, you're missing the whole point. You're on either zero-dimensional frequency or three at an absolute max. Minus. Once you get into the 5 dimensionals, you pick it up straight away.
Absolutely.
For those that are on a higher frequency, they're totally in tune with what's happening.
And I think that's, you've hit that on the head there. It's the frequency, and it's what we consume, and that's going to determine our output. So what we put inside, what we eat, that's junk food, healthy food, so it's the left, the right, what we watch. We're watching these. I put something up on my Facebook today about Netflix promoting this show with 4 or 5 girls on the front cover in highly sexualized poses, and they're like 8-9-year-old girls. I would never, and I question the parent who allows their child to do that.
I agree.
This is what I want to sort of point out before you finish with the rest, Charlie, is that parents, are we that desensitized to all of this stuff that we're just thinking, no, it's just okay, oh, doesn't she look pretty, or oh, isn't that nice? No, you've got your child posing in a pornographic pose. It looks uncomfortable to watch. How has that been even allowed?
I think a lot of it is, the parenting skills have gone downhill an immense amount because they stick kids in front of the telly for peace and quiet. Nowadays, they give them an iPad for peace and quiet. My wife is incredibly strict with Justin with his iPad, the amount of time he can spend on it.
As is with my niece and nephew, very strict with them.
And he gets a spelling test every week, and if he gets 10 out of 10, he keeps his iPad. If he gets 9 out of 10, he loses his iPad for an entire week.
Oh,
And I tease him, if you get 8 out of 10, you get a haircut like me. But he's never had an 8 out of 10. I think he had 3 9 out of 10s last year. That's it. Everything else was 10 out of 10. She's very strict on his learning.
Yeah.
And she won't mind me saying this, that if she tells him off in English and he doesn't listen, she'll suddenly flip into Turkish. And when she flips into Turkish, even I get scared. She's very, very strict with him, but he adores her, and she adores him. But she's the rules are the rules. She comes from that background.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not a parent myself, and so I don't mean to sort of discredit anything to do with parenting, because I can imagine people will say to me, Alpa, how do you know you're not a mum yourself? But I have the privilege of looking after my niece and nephew, and I know that's not full time, but I'm not really saying that. I'm saying that a lot of the stuff that we're allowing our children, so I have a moral responsibility now knowing this. And my beautiful sister-in-law, she really listened to me. She got my brother and my whole family listened to our chat last week. Some of my really good friends, just a handful of them listened, and said, Alpa, we learned a few things. Yeah, okay, you were interrupting a little bit, but as you and loads of questions that are racing through your mind. But thank you. We learned a few things here and there. And yeah, Alpa, what you're doing is just wanting to reach out to people to wake up in so many different areas to do with the children. Because the other comment this person said, oh, well, what can we do about the children? They're being trafficked, and this has been going on for ages. Really?
Yeah.
Like, oh, we can't do anything.
Yeah.
Of course you can. And I urge everyone watching this today, you can. And even if you share it with that one person can go and share it with 10 people.
Exactly right.
And within that 10 people, that person might be, have a massive community. And this is where we're seeing the domino effect happening.
Well, look what's happened to me.
Yeah.
37 subscribers 4 months ago.
Yeah.
120,000 today and 500,000 views on. I think we have had 6.5 million views on the videos we've done, which is incredible.
No, that's amazing, Charlie.
So, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Let's get real about it. The other thing, of course, President Trump was the first person, this is quite big, the first president to arrest royal households from other countries. And we've seen things happen. We saw what happened in Istanbul, where Saudi Arabia came in and executed Khashoggi.
No.
We're seeing where corrupt regimes are coming into other countries and doing things they shouldn't do. And he's taken that head on, and that's never been done before. He's holding people accountable.
And people are not going to like that.
They're not going to like it. We in the UK, he's challenged the royal family as to what's going on, and it's amazing how quiet they've gone. And we'll wait and see how that plays out. I don't know. I have no idea. And also the corrupt politicians around the world that he's challenged. People in power. In the old days, corrupt leaders of countries were executed. But in regime change, he's now giving them a trial, charging them with crimes, but giving them a trial, and rooting out everything that's evil. And that's a massive job. I mean, a massive job. And he's doing incredibly well. So, yeah, that was my questions, and it was like, it was just basically for people to realise that he's doing an amazing job. I don't care if you don't like his tweets. I don't care if you don't like his floppy hair.
No.
I don't care if you like the way he is. That's just how he is. And this is all identity politics that the left have made us hate. They hate anything outside of their narrative.
Yeah. And the public has been confused. The public has been deceived. And they're in that whole media infiltrated distractions. And as you said, politics. What is politics? It's causing this person against that person, left against right. And what are your thoughts about how this is going to start looking, when he wins? Because I'm pretty confident he will. He's got a silent majority, and that's for sure.
He's got a massive majority. The let's get one thing clear. The election will not be between the Democrats and the Republicans. Let's
No.
make that very, very clear. Because there are many, many bad Republicans. And many, many bad Democrats, and there's many, many good ones on both sides. This election will be between good and evil.
Good and evil, absolutely.
Correct. And because the new voting system will be linked to the blockchain of the quantum financial system, it can't be hacked. It can't be. They can't fiddle it. So they'll be left wanting. Now, my question yesterday was when they were telling me about the system. They said 90%, the whole country will turn red. Everybody will be behind Trump. 90% will be behind Trump. I said, what about the other 10%? And they said those people will still be fast asleep in a coma. They won't know what's happening. They'll just go for somebody else because they don't like Trump. That's it. And then they'll wake up and realize what's actually happened, and when they've lost total control of both houses in America.
I heard in your podcast, that the one that I mentioned earlier, that Charlie said that every country is behind Trump.
Yeah, totally. They don't have a choice now because of Nasara and Jassara, and they've all signed off to it. And that ends all of the wars against each other. That ends that completely.
Yeah.
It ends so much hardship and pain. But what amazes me, I know some really, really intelligent minds, and they haven't got a clue what's happening. They're going to have the shock of their life.
This is the thing I'm facing. I always looked up to certain people because I was in awe of their academic degrees. I always kind of felt a bit of a misfit in the academic system. I kind of get it now because I didn't fit into the system. I never have. And life prepared me to be like that. You know, to be prepared for this. I wasn't the smartest cookie in at school. I wasn't a straight A student. You know, I was actually categorically told by one of my teachers that, you know, you shouldn't be hanging around with the straight A people. You're a B or a C. You're too stupid to be hanging around with them. And I was like, so what?
Yeah, exactly.
You know? But, you know, I still went out, I still got a degree, but I didn't study at all for it. It just didn't fit well with me. But I did all right. I got there. But some of the most intelligent people that I know, got the most amazing degrees, straight A's, they have been the ones that have shocked me the most.
Yeah.
With coronavirus especially.
Yeah.
You know.
This is going to be such a leveler.
And, you know, look, I say this with empathy. I don't want to put anyone down. This is like, you know, people are so, it's about their belief system. You're rocking somebody's belief system. And people like to cling on to that, don't they, Charlie?
Of course I do.
You are coming in, Alpa, Soni, and telling me that what I believe in life is true. You know, they stick their fingers up at me. I get it. I absolutely get it. However, would you not agree, though, Charlie? This is a time where humanity is really called to face up to this specific moment in time, because I don't want to be writing about all of this children stuff on my Facebook every 5 minutes and every post. You know, I'm sure in as much as I'm sure we don't want to keep talking about the children, we want to know that things are being done.
I started off my journey with this, and I used to say, I'm not the Messiah. I might be right. I might be wrong. What I have done is I've done my research.
Yes.
And I've done a lot of it. And I've opened a lot of doors that have never been opened before.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of things that I would never have dreamt were there. And it's quite interesting, the people that challenge you, they've done no research other than BBC One and ITV, and that's not research.
I know. And, you know, what is history? Let's put it in perspective. Yeah. It's other people's stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's other people's stories. So you and I are not here on some, you know, vendetta to prove ourselves right and the whole world wrong. No, we want to point out these horrible things are happening. It needs to stop. And actually, there's something greater that's coming out of this.
Totally.
And we want to be right. Let's deal with this bad stuff. Let's all hold hands in unity because the other side is good. So I think I'm going to start off with the questions, if that's okay.
Go on.
Because there's quite a few. And the first one is from Louise. Louise is the lady who set up the Freedom Thinkers group. Amazing lady. She's got her own healing community based in Essex called the Freedom Centre. And she asked me, she goes, can Charlie explain the history of gold that's supposed to be given to us at birth? So this is in alignment, I think, with the Sarah Jasara thing. And she says, can she explain the history of gold being given to us at birth and inverted commas worth your weight in gold?
That's not something I know a lot about, because we all know the term worth your weight in gold, and we all know that there's only a certain amount of gold that's already been mined. We know there's a lot in the ground, and we know there's a lot that is undeclared. I know a lot more about the undeclared gold that's been stored than I know about probably the area that you're looking into.
Yes.
This is a time for people themselves to do their own research so they understand the value of it. It was the first real commodity. People used to deal in gold, trade in gold, because it had a value. And a lot of the old gold coins and silver coins used to, instead of paying in a whole coin, they used to snip a piece off, etc., etc. Very, very old-fashioned. But no, it's an amazing story, but it's not something I've studied too much. So
right.
I appreciate the question, but if I did answer it, I'd need to do a lot more study on it to give an educated answer.
No, that's fair enough. And in alignment to that, I wanted to ask if you know a lot about the strawman and our birth certificate being traded at birth. And I saw the lovely podcast with, can't remember.
John Smith?
Possibly, yeah. And it's got that lady who went into prison for 8 years in the US, where she talks about the strawman and common law.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
And actually that there's a duplicate birth certificate of ours that's traded, and we're sold effectively. We're sold as slaves, as debt slaves, effectively from birth.
Yeah.
Can you shed some more light on that?
Yeah, every person that's born is given a birth certificate, and it's very hard to get around it because you can't do anything without one. It's been possible unless you live off the matrix, if you like. But you'll notice on your birth certificate, your name is written in capital letters.
Yes, that's right.
And they were every birth certificate copy is held in Italy by these families over there that basically capitalized in the Venetians.
Yes.
And that's why the Venetians were the first ones to be arrested. This is why the lockdown in Italy was the first to hit real hard. Because they had the Venetians and they had the Vatican, which had to be arrested and taken right at the very start, because they're right at the pinnacle. That's the head of the beast that Trump refers to. So your birth certificate is taken and it's traded, and you are no longer a human being on this earth when it comes to how the government perceive you or how the royal families perceive you. You are a commodity, and you are traded on the stock exchange, and you have a value.
Yeah.
And even the courts are set up to maritime law to encompass this. And Donald Trump wants to change that, to bring us back to common law so that we are actually human beings. And probably the best thing you can do, which you alluded to, is watch the movie Strawman, because that will explain exactly what goes on.
Yeah.
And I think you'll be absolutely shocked, and you won't be able to work it out. But when you start doing your own research, that will wake you up to what's been going on.
Yes.
One thing for Charlie to tell you, another for Alpa to tell you. We're going to point you to a video, a movie to watch. Watch it, then do your research, and that will help to enlighten you and to wake you up.
Yeah, no, and it just leads you down so many different paths and so many different avenues, because yes, I started off with the children and learning about the sick world of Hollywood. And, just to reiterate, I'm not here to character assassinate anyone. But if someone does something to a child and is implicated and you connect the dots, no, I'm not going to worship that celebrity. I don't care who it is. And then you find all these other things with regards to your birth certificate. And then this Nasara Jasara. So things start falling into place. I'm not, like you said, you're not the Messiah, neither am I. I just went away, just normal person, ordinary girl that went away and done her research. And, I was like, holy crap, this is huge. This is huge, And I don't know if you tried, there's this website called the GMEIU utility where you put your national insurance number in. And I'm happy to share that link somehow with everyone. And that's actually Louise who sent it to our whole group. When you put that in with your national insurance number and then the space of the letter, so your whole JP, whatever, and a B at the end, and you put that, you can see where your birth certificate has been traded and what stocks.
What's the website called?
I'll send it to you. It's called GMEIutilitysomething.com. So I've got it here on my phone, but it'll take me a while to find it.
Okay. All right.
It's on a link. So you have to put, and these are like live trades. These are like the companies like BNP Paribas and, Deutsche Bank and so many commercial banks and funds. It's insane.
Yeah.
I got my mum to check it. She goes, "Oh my God, I worth millions."
Exactly.
And she was like, she kept going down. And she goes, "Oh my God, this is like endless. The pages are endless."
Yeah.
So we don't know exactly what that means, what that money essentially has been traded on our names. So Nasara and Jasara is going to fit into this. Yeah. So I've got questions about that afterwards. But yeah, very interesting about the birth certificate. And I think I urge people to go and watch that. I'll put it on my Facebook, actually. I'll put that link on my Facebook. And the next question is, she's asked, should we accept the planned second wave with grace, as it will be used to support the takedown of the cabal, or rise up to oppose it, and show the cabal that we do not believe their narrative?
Absolutely spot on. Couldn't have put it better myself. The second wave COVID-19 coronavirus lockdown is nothing to do with the virus. It's a smokescreen to cover up the arrests of the last dregs, if you like, of the swamp. It's also to cover over a little bit of transition between the old fiat financial system and the new quantum financial system. So there'll be a little bit of chaos and confusion out there, but just keep calm, don't panic. We're coming through a little bit of a rough water. And it's a bit like when you're in a boat, you can see the waves coming, so you just buckle down and sit down and wait till you're through the other side. Use your common sense. Don't panic. Don't panic about it. And just accept the fact that we're coming through this difficult period. Look, we've been in lockdown before. We know how to handle it. I've made sure that my wife and my family are in a safe place. That's all. Just keep out of the way.
And when do you think this is going to be the
sometime in the month of September.
Hope it's not around my birthday.
When's your birthday? Yeah. I didn't ask what year.
September Sunday.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, so ask Charlie why Q have allowed the narrative to continue when it hasn't helped to wake people up. This is actually an interesting question. So many people revel in mask wearing and shaming in others, and yet Q is not really doing much to kind of stop this.
I don't think they realised how ignorant people were. I think they gave people far more credit than they were worth, because they thought people would wake up very quickly when they did a few stupid things like wearing a mask in the middle of summer when the virus can't, when you can't transmit the virus. And there's a number of crazy
or at the seaside.
Oh, exactly. They take people off the beach in the day here now, and people go. But people do it. People don't question it. People don't challenge it, and I think they're a bit surprised. In fact, I don't think they're a bit surprised. I know that they're absolutely gobsmacked at how programmed these people are to what they hear on television.
But couldn't they be doing more? Like, see, this is actually a question that I've had as well. That, we're all kind of suffering here, the likes of you and I. Well, I'm okay. I'm all right with, being ridiculed or whatever. But, there's but people don't believe us. Why isn't Trump stepping up? And the truth is that a lot of truthers are quite frustrated with, the lack of things that are being exposed, because there were a lot of things that were supposed to be exposed.
We're not through the tunnel yet.
Yeah,
it's very typical of the mentality of the world we live in. They want everything done today, and they want it done yesterday.
Yeah,
next time. And we're, as I point out 100 times, the Second World War took 5.5 years. We're 4 months in, and people are crying like babies.
Exactly. Yeah.
What would happen if it went on for a year? Oh, there'd be an agony. It's still a fraction of the time of the Second World War. We need to wake up to reality. He's doing a far bigger job than the Second World War ever was. And we've only been doing this for 4 months. And we haven't been asked to fight.
We've been fighting over toilet paper though, Charlie.
Oh my word, yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it. Fighting over masks. Oh, you couldn't make it up.
So so surely it's easy just to expose people. I think with that as well is the Q team, and I think this whole plan, they want people to actually get up and do the work themselves.
Of course they do.
And not have everything sort of laid there for them. I mean, I know this is a strategy and everything is unfolding as it was meant to, according to the plan.
Yeah.
But I'm also empathetic to the truthers who are frustrated with things not being revealed. So I get why they're saying it's easier just to come out and say that this person is this and this person is that. Yeah. I mean,
he's exposing people for what they are, and it's our duty to stand up against it. I've stood up from day one, and I've stood up against what's wrong. And it's now time for people in Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Canada, England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales to stand up against what's corrupt. It's all been pointed out to us, but the trouble is you've got people there sitting at home wanting everything done for them. No, it's time for us. We wouldn't like it if Trump came into our country and removed them. So it's time, he's going to expose them. Now it's time for you. You voted them in, by the way. It's your time to vote them out.
100%. I'm with you on that. So I just covered this, that, we are now tired and worn out by the injustices of the world. So message to everyone, just keep going out there and fight. This is a war. This is a spiritual war.
Yeah.
This is a digital war. Even though it's not the obvious forms, we have to go out there and even in our Gita, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says to Arjun, when Arjun has to go against all his family members, and Arjun is like, how can I go against my uncles and aunts? This is going to mean bloodshed, just in a short sort of synopsis. And Krishna says to Arjun, you've got to do your dharma, your duty, your dharma, your duty to mankind. And it's action. And I loved what you said actually about praying. I love that, Charlie, because praying is great. We can all sit down and kneel down and pray. And I say this to my mum, but it's action is a prayer. Action is a prayer, right? And we can sit there and snigger at the people who do this and do that and don't do this. And I'm praying, so I'm doing my job. No, there's more. Prayer is an amazing thing. Prayer is wonderful. Your intentions are there. But
I've got a feeling that while you're on your knees praying, God's praying you get off your ass and do something.
Well, you said that in your podcast with Charlie Freak. That was really well put, though. Not just about doing nothing.
Exactly.
So, what can an ordinary person do to help? We covered this last time as well. And how do they look after themselves while they're in their families to minimize fallout? Because I really empathize with this question, especially within Asian families.
Yep.
It's secular, right? I'm very fortunate that I have got, very free-thinking parents. And they trust me and they say to me, look, better do what you've got to do. Right, but it's not the case.
I think the critical thing is show me, not tell me.
Yeah, that's what I've done. Would it be worse that we put our lives to you guys doing the same? Okay, so what about are there going to be extraterrestrial disclosures?
I'm led to believe there will be. It's not something I've studied much about, but I was told right from the start, that there would be the virus, the vaccine, 5G, riots, and an alien invasion. That's what I was told.
Right.
We've had the first four. Let's wait and see if the fifth one comes along. No idea. At the moment, that's just fantasy. The first four are truth because it's happened.
Yeah.
What I was told has happened. The alien invasion is, let's wait and see. If it happens, it happens. I had this discussion the other day with somebody who said to me, oh, it's Lee Dawson, actually. He said to me, Charlie, I think the aliens are actually here. So I trained a guy the other day that his strength was far greater than any human being I've ever known. He said, I was convinced he was an alien because the strength was completely off the scale to what was an acceptable normal.
Yeah, well, I saw something very peculiar. I think I mentioned this before in the sky when we were doing this voluntary work in Trafalgar Square in the first 2-3 weeks of lockdown, and it was like so like completely quiet and derelict. Nothing was there, no one was there, and I look up in the sky because I think it was at the time where the moon and Venus were on top of each other. So I was like, oh, look at that, it's lovely, the moon and Venus. And then suddenly I see this gold thing which looked like a spaceship, and I've taken pictures of it. And I'm like, what is that? And I took loads of pictures, and we were all looking. It literally looked like this gold ball of fire just going all across Trafalgar Square.
Incredible.
I saw it with my own eyes, no word of lie.
Yeah. No, there's definitely something out there, definitely. But,
yeah. Okay, so just a few more. Do you think Trump will step down once all of this is done?
It'll be his choice. I've already been told that he'll be given the choice. We'll move. There'll be a transition. He'll win the election comfortably, and then I think there will be a new president that takes over for the Nasara in America, and I think that's already been planned. They're quite excited about it, and I'm sure we'll have new leaders in every country around the world.
Flynn.
Sorry?
Is it Flynn?
It'll be interesting to see who it is, but it'll be interesting in the United Kingdom.
Yes, it will, for sure.
I got some intel this morning that gave me a suggestion as to who it was likely to be, and that's we'll wait and see.
Yeah, interesting times, Charlie. And a few more. So what will the future governments look like, and is it too late to buy gold?
It's not too late to buy gold. It never has been, because it's one of the most solid commodities you'll ever have. What was the first part of that question?
Yeah, sorry. So what will the future governments look like?
Oh, the future governments will look very, very different from what they are now. I mean, completely different. They won't be anywhere near the same amount of people in government that there is right now, because they're completely top heavy. There's far too many people involved. You'll need a house which is lawmakers, and it probably won't be in London anymore. It'll probably be in the Midlands somewhere. And then you'll need members of parliament that represent counties. So you'll only need a handful of them. You won't need all the hundreds that we have right now. They'll represent their counties. And I can't see the future for Labour and Conservative and Lib Dems. I can see there being not this party political bullshit that's out there, because it's complete bullshit. It'll be between good and evil, and it'll be those that we'll choose people that we want to represent the people in each county. And each county has different needs. You have coastal counties, you have inland counties, you have mining counties, you have different counties that have different things that have different needs. And I think it will be far more simple than it's ever been before. And this is one of the huge costs that will be cut down by 95% from what it is right now.
Yeah, that's good. But this transition will take some time, Charlie.
Sure. Yeah, it is. And as I've said before, and I'll say it again, I'm not the Messiah. I'm just Charlie. This is my personal view. This is how I see it.
Yeah, of course.
I might be right. I might be wrong.
No, and absolutely. I think I was listening to Charlie Freak, and one of the questions Mark Devlin asked him about this transition time is this: look, it's going to happen, but it's not just like you said earlier, and aligning with what you said earlier. Everybody wants everything now. and we're in that sort of mindset. But you know, we're looking at a lot of these things that are going to be revealed at their pace, and you know, we're looking up to till 2022.
Yeah.
So I keep seeing that number all the time: 222, 555.
Yeah, maybe that's the year you'll get married.
Let's see, Charlie. Let's see. I don't know if it's worth the hassle.
Oh, I can recommend it.
Are you being my matrimonial uncle now here, like on your channel? There's 120,000 people watching.
Exactly.
Potentially.
Exactly.
Okay, lovely message from a girl in Canada, and she's been writing some really nice emails, messages to me, and she says, I'm in Canada, I really want to help with the children, what can I do? And I'm a bit worried about the this emergency broadcast announcement. We talked about that last time, Charlie, about this blackout. So, you know, she wants to help the children, but what can we expect with this emergency broadcast announcement? Is it going to be before the election or after? That
I don't know, but don't worry about it. Don't panic about it. You know, I'm worried that my telly goes off. My telly's been off for the last 4 months, and I absolutely love it.
Oh, that's 10 years.
When it comes to what can I do, my parents always said charity begins at home, and everything begins at home. You need to make sure the children close by to you are being looked after, and step by step by step. You know, you can't go after saving the world. And I love what Jordan Peterson says, because Jordan Peterson is somebody I've looked up to and followed for many, many years. You know, you get these lefties who want to save the world, and yet they live in a mess at home. Till you've tidied up your mess at home, you can't sort out the mess in the world. It starts at home. And he talks about tidying your bedroom. He said, if you can't tidy your bedroom, how can you sort the world out?
I'm with him on that one.
Exactly. It starts at home, and it's the same with the children. Make sure the children around you are looked after. And that's down to simple things like making sure that when children go to Sunday school, they're being looked after by the right type of people in church,
100%.
Not the wrong type of people in church.
Yeah.
That's where it starts.
It starts at home, and that's what...
You have all the signs, you have all the information. Now you need to get off your knees and look after your children.
Absolutely. And I said, I had this conversation with a friend. I said, look, you know, you might be annoyed and irritated by some of the things that I'm posting, but I'm doing this for your children. Correct. I'm not just protecting my own blood. I'm doing this for your children. I love your children. You know, I'm privileged to be an auntie and like know so many amazing children. And what kind of world do we want to, you know, create for them? And if we don't fight now, yeah, we can sit there and say, oh, well, this has just been happening for years. It's never going to change. Well, let's just revel in that, you know, pessimism here. Nothing will ever change. Be the change you want to see in the world, you know? Exactly.
And I think that's an absolutely wonderful note to finish on this one. And we'll have to do it again, because I know that we'll have plenty more questions. But
yeah, last one. One more. It's about the mainstream media. Do you think that it's disappearing? And if so, when? And the quantum financial system, is it going to happen by the 1st of September? And that's me done.
Right. Mainstream media will be the last people to be taken down by Trump. They'll be the last ones to be taken down. And the quantum financial system was operative from the 2nd of August, is already operative. And probably will be known publicly by the 1st of September, yes, because it's already working. And I spoke to somebody yesterday that sent some money to a different country, and it arrived in under 4 seconds. So we know it's working. So some transactions are already happening. So yes, it's already working. It's been tested. They told me that the SWIFT system would be taken down on the 31st of August. So yes, it's already working. But I would guess it will become public knowledge during the month of September.
Amazing.
All right, Alpa.
It was amazing, Charlie. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Hi, it's Justin, and I hope you're enjoying my dad's videos. Make sure to share this video with family and friends, like and subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you get notified for all my dad's new videos. My social media will be tagged down below so you can follow it. And just remember, Jesus loves you.